I have no humility about how good a tune writer I am.
The reaction was like, that is a bad thing. Don't do it.
Two people take a sip of their beer and then just go, huh, that kind of tasted like, and then they say together, blood.
Wow. The way that you learn when you leave the house.
I would rather be drowning in my own bathtub than accept that invitation.
Hey, welcome back. We're not for everyone. I'm Jess. That's Caroline. It's our 99th episode. We're just laying in bed. That's how we
Yeah.
do 100 episodes of a podcast. We just progressively get more and more comfortable.
Fall asleep. Yeah,
Fall
I
asleep
love it.
until we're lullabying each other.
What I really want, yeah, I want to have the covers all the way over me and then just like a mic stand that holds the mic from the ceiling like a
I
pendant
know.
light and just dangles it in front of my face like
Yeah, you
this.
do want it a little bit like hanging. You don't want it to be taut,
Yeah.
because that adds to
Yeah.
the allure of
Yeah.
it, I think.
A little bit of motion.
A little bit of motion in the ocean. What's going on
Wow,
with
look
you?
how I was just thinking about how cute I look right now.
You do. You look like a young
No, I
lad.
don't. I look
You
so
look
dumb.
like a young lad who's just full of thoughts for us today.
I do have a thought for you.
Okay.
I saw this posted somewhere and I thought it was great. I thought it was an important question to ask here. Okay, you are in your world, your normal world of Chicago, in the normal
Oh,
places
me.
you would, yeah, you in the normal
Saw
places
it
you would be.
posted about me. No, go on.
Yeah. This is about you. How many owls would you have to see? How many owls would you have to see in a day before you started worrying that something was going on?
That's so funny. I think two. I think two. I think it's two owls.
Two owls.
I
Really?
never see owls, but I think if I saw one, I would just be like, wow, what a special day. I got to see an owl. But if as soon as there was a second one, I'd be like, what the fuck is going on? How often do you see owls? That's such a good
Instant
question.
chaos. I don't see owls very often either, but I think I'm also just like so tuned out to anything.
Of big owl content.
I
Yeah.
think I would just assume, yeah, I'm just not in the owl like social circle that much that I feel like I would just assume it was like, oh, I guess I just haven't been very observant for the last 30 years. I
Uh,
think it would take I think it would take 5 owls.
that's a lot of owls. Because let me tell you this, one of my best friends lives in New York
Mhm.
City and she loves birds. She loves owls. And it's like a thing that she goes on the weekends to bird watch, or goes to Central Park to look at the different birds. And there are certain owls that are like known figures in the community of Central Park bird watchers, I guess.
Movers and shakers.
Movers and shakers. There's like the Oprah of owls. And so she like goes and sees those owls. And I would think that for there to be like known owls that people go and seek out in a specific park means
Yeah.
that there's not very many owls in general. So it's like special that there's that one.
Yeah. But I feel like maybe what you're describing is like at like 3 owls, your friend would be like, "Oh my fucking God, I had the most successful owl watching day. That will never happen again in my lifetime."
Yeah.
What I'm talking about
Yeah.
is how many owls till you're like, "Oh, the aliens are coming," or like,
I know.
"Oh, is this the last day of the apocalypse?
Okay,
Am
maybe
I
I'll
a
up it from
wizard?"
two. Maybe I'll up
Like
it.
at
It
two
just feels like
at 2 owls, you would call the National Guard or like, what are you saying?
no. At two owls, I would be like, what the fuck is going on? I think that would
Okay.
shock me.
Okay.
But at four owls, maybe is when I would alert someone.
Who
Like
would you
two
call?
would be the beginning of the end. Two would be like, okay, like something's up, but I'm just having a owly day. Three would be like, now there's like a prank being played on me. And then
Yeah.
four would be a national security investigation.
Who would you
I would
call?
call the first person I can think of is my friend Natalie, who works at Instagram because she got our Instagram back after being hacked this week.
Let the Instagram board know.
Just let her take care of it. She'll know. She'll know what to do. She fixes problems for me. If I didn't call, if they couldn't handle it over at Instagram, then who would I call? My sister, maybe? I wouldn't call like a real body. I would call somebody that I feel like gets shit done in my life, and they would know who to call.
Yeah, okay. I think I would probably also take it to Instagram. And I think at
Yeah,
5 or 6 owls, I would post a story and be like, are you guys experiencing an
it's
influx
true.
of owls?
That's true. I would
I think
actually just post it on my story.
yeah, I think I would go for the sanity check first.
Yeah.
Like, are you guys having a lot of owls?
I would wonder if it was a regional thing. If I'm seeing 4 owls in Chicago in one day,
Yeah,
I would have to assume that that's happening, that that's broader than Chicago,
yeah. This is bigger than
but
just us.
I don't know. So yeah, I would want to check. I feel like I would just get distracted then. I would post it on my story. I would spend a really long time like formatting it and making it kind of funny,
Yeah,
but
that's
also putting
good.
the question box there to make sure that
Yeah,
I was collecting my data. And then I would like get distracted doing something else with my day and never return to it. That's realistically when I do a poll on my stories. It
totally,
dies. It dies with the Instagram.
totally, totally. Yeah, that's the only place we're taking it.
What
I
other,
guess
okay.
those numbers do feel different. Like if you're in New York City and I saw 2 owls, I'd be like, oh, yeah. I'd be like, something's changing.
Don't you think?
Yeah,
Outside of, especially if you were outside of Central Park, like if you were not
yeah,
in a park and you
yeah,
saw 2 owls, that's what I'm thinking about when I'm walking around Chicago. Like it's a city. I don't know.
yeah.
There's
That's fair.
there's trees, but they're not owly
Oh,
trees.
I just think I'm filled with such a capacity for self-doubt that I'd be like, maybe they were always here.
Yeah, or maybe there's something wrong with me. Like maybe I would just submit myself to
Yeah, I'm the
mental
problem.
health care. Yeah.
Yeah. That also could be different if the owls were like in my house.
Okay, okay. Go
I
on.
think I don't I think I'd only need two. I think one I'd still be like, this is probably me. I think one I'd still be like, I've had animals in the house before.
If there
But
was an
two,
owl in my house, I would call some official body. That is the situation in which I would actually spur into real action. If they were outside, I'd be weirded out, but I'd be like, someone else is going to deal with this.
yeah.
If it was in my house, even one, I would report it or something. Who do you
No,
call like
that's
the
correct.
animal control? Is that who it
Yeah,
is?
Instagram.
Instagram.
I think I would still take it. I would call animal control, but I would also still be on Instagram and still be like, does anyone else have an owl in their house?
Oh, totally. I mean, you got to do something while you wait for animal control to show
Yeah,
up.
you
You
want to
got to be
find
scrolling.
connection. You want to
Yeah.
you want to validate.
You
You want
want
to
to
be
find
validated.
connection. Wait, speaking of connection, I had such a nice moment yesterday. I noticed somebody follow me, and I only have to assume, obviously,
On
like
Instagram or on the
on
street?
Instagram.
Okay,
No.
the very different experiences. Very
On
different experiences.
Instagram. Um, and like if I see a username that I don't know who that is, then I just assume it's podcast listeners. So I saw a username that I don't know that person personally, but I recognize their username. And I clicked, and it's a girl that I watch her YouTube videos, and she lives in Chicago, and she followed me on Instagram.
Oh,
So I
that's
immediately
awesome.
DM'd her and was like, "Wait, hi, I watch your videos, and I think you're really cool. Do you listen to the podcast?" And now we're friends. Her
Does she listen to the
Instagram,
podcast?
she
Give me
does.
the
Yeah,
answer.
yeah, 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 yeah. Of course.
Cool, dude. Cool, dude.
Um, she her Instagram and her YouTube are tofu goob, and she does really cute like vlog style content about the thing that I've related to is she's talked about leaving the corporate world to pursue her art, and then she ended
Yeah.
up going back to the corporate world only a few months later because she was like, "Oh my God, I need structure, I need stability." I mean, so much of
Hmm.
before I knew she listened to the podcast, a bunch of the like themes that she would talk about in her YouTube
Yeah.
videos are themes that we have talked about of,
Oh yeah.
how difficult it is to rely on your art for your income and how it
Yeah.
can be better to kind of like do both when you're starting. Anyway, And then it was like a full circle moment when I found out she listens. So shout out to
Oh, that's
her.
really sweet.
I really like her videos if you want someone other than Caroline, because those are pretty much my two. It's her, it's you and
Oh,
her that I watch on YouTube these days.
oh, that's awesome. Okay, I'll have to check her out.
Do you still consume YouTube as a YouTuber?
I do, but I don't even know what I like to watch anymore. Um, I think I basically don't watch the kind of content that I make anymore. Like
Mm,
I don't usually watch, I used to watch a lot of DIY design, decor, vlogs. Sometimes I still watch that, but usually no. Um, I've gotten onto some weird, let me tell you the YouTube I'm on right now. These I'm I've gotten into there's just so many different rabbit holes. I've gotten
yeah.
like most of my feed is different childhood like disabilities. And
Oh,
there's this one channel that just is just interviews with different children and their families all with different disabilities and
oh my
like what it's like for
gosh.
them.
That's
Uh,
sad. Or is it uplifting? Or what is it?
no, I think it's just human.
Informational?
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's parts of it that are sad and there's parts of it that are happy and they're just other human lives.
Wow.
It's really, really interesting. And I feel like I've been watching some other weird, random shit.
How did you find those? They just started popping up for you?
I really don't know. I
I would
really don't
not
know.
think to like unless
I
it
don't think I
unless there was a
searched it.
reason I was doing research on a specific disability that like someone I know was diagnosed with or something, I don't think I would end up there. But that's
Yeah,
interesting.
I
So
think
like
it just ended up on my
documentary.
feed. Yeah, they're like two camera interviews.
Okay.
Um, Maybe I can find what it's called if someone else is interested in it. It's a really cool channel. It's called
Activity.
Special Books by Special Kids.
Oh, I like
Yeah.
that name.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really interesting. I think I always like parenting content and and just learning about yeah, I guess different walks of life. I think I always had a feeling
I know what you're
I
about to
don't
say.
I think I always had a feeling that I would have a child maybe with a really big like developmental challenge or something.
Mm. Isn't
Yeah.
it interesting those feelings? Like I have a couple big feelings of that sort.
Yeah.
I have a feeling about like what disease is gonna kill me. I have a feeling about, and it's not
Sweet.
something that's in my,
I want to hear them. I want to hear them.
I mean, it's nothing crazy. I just think breast cancer. With these titties, please. But
There's too much surface area for them.
there's so much risk with how much tissue there is
Is that
to
true?
get.
Is that science though? Is the bigger the titty, the bigger the
No, I
chance?
don't think so.
Okay.
Although the bigger the
Okay. Let's
titty,
not. Yeah.
the harder it is to what do you
Find
call
it.
it? To screen for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I
Okay.
have
Okay.
really dense breast tissue and I have gotten a there I did have a scare last year where I they thought they like felt something in my annual exam and I had to do a mammogram and an ultrasound and a biopsy and it ended up being benign, but it was like a whole thing. I mean, that would be a whole thing for anyone, but it was
Yeah.
extra like there was an extra step or two because I have a lot of breast tissue and it's like harder to get to it.
Oh. Okay.
Um, so that is true. But no, there's no breast cancer in my family. We have other, things that people have suffered from in my family, but that's not one of them, luckily. And I just still have this feeling that that's going to be it for me. And I feel like there's a few
Yeah.
other weird feelings like that. Like, although at this stage I don't want kids, I think part of the reason that I feel comfortable to say that at 33 without freezing my eggs, without taking precautions to like make sure I can biologically have children is because I've always had a feeling about adoption. Like I've just always felt like, oh,
Mm.
if I were to do that,
Yeah.
I think I could see myself doing it this way. And it's just like these big feelings where you're like, that's what's going to get me, or
So
that's what's going to happen
interesting.
about just completely. I mean, I totally understand the feeling you're
Yeah.
describing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Just random ass feelings. I
just
haven't
feelings.
just fucking feelings. I'm trying to think of other ones I've had, but I don't know if I've lived long enough to vet any of them,
Totally. That's why I'm
you
like,
know?
it will be interesting. I mean, that will be interesting to find out
Yeah.
uh in the not so far future, probably, hopefully.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Um, Speaking of learning about different walks of life, you were talking about that with those YouTube videos. I went to a yoga class last week, a hot yoga, yin yoga class, which is my favorite because it's just like slow stretching and then shavasana for
Yeah.
20 minutes.
Yes. Yes, that's the
Oh,
only kind I like too.
it's the only kind.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to go like once
Yeah.
a week now because my body feels so tight all the time. And my
I know, because
regular
we're
workouts are like
dying. We're
weightlifting. And so I
old.
need to stretch my loins.
Yeah.
Anyway, I went to this class and it was kind of, I've been so busy at work and just in life the past couple weeks that I really haven't left the house very much. And so going to that yoga class was my first venture out of the house other than to just like run to the grocery store or something basic.
Hmm.
My first like new place. I was going to a new studio that I had never been to before with people I had never seen and participating
You
in this
mean
activity.
since being in your new place? That
Uh
was the new venture.
yeah, I guess well,
Not
it was I had never been to this yoga studio at all and
okay.
in the last couple weeks I have not gone somewhere out of my routine in a
Yeah.
while,
Okay.
you
Okay.
know.
Okay.
So, I was in this yoga class and the instructor was kind of doing like spoken word type of instruction. Like her
Mm,
her
do it.
instruction was to the
Do it.
beat.
Do it.
I can't even do it because you need music playing in the background. There was music playing, and the
Okay.
way that she syncopated her voice and her speech was like to the music, but not in a
Okay.
forced way, in a really cool,
Okay.
natural way that was like
Okay.
sensual. And then she would like,
Yeah.
it was like kind of sensual. And there was like a
Yeah.
dark, hot yoga class. Anyway, at some point in this class, she was talking about a lot of themes about uh finding our strength and, it's physical and it's mental and all whatever. And
Yeah.
I just thought to myself, like, wow, the way that you learn when you leave the house. Like it was such a dumb thought.
I love that.
But it
No,
was
it's
a
not
really
dumb.
important moment for me
No,
to
that's
be like,
beautiful.
dude, go sign up for this stuff you've never done before, just once every couple weeks or something. Like, it totally
Yeah.
reset me because otherwise I've just been doing my mundane day to day responsibility type of tasks and
Yeah.
not, and, seeing the same people, seeing Ryan, seeing my couple best friends, but not really going out into the world and interacting with new people or new hobbies or new spaces. And it immediately had that impact on me, even
Yeah.
though I couldn't recount to you what she said or that wasn't the point. It was just this feeling of like, oh,
Shook it up a
new,
little bit.
yeah, like this is how you learn. I don't have to read a book or watch a documentary or listen to a podcast to connect with other people and learn from lives outside of my own. I can just go to a yoga class. Like
Yep.
that in itself taught me about other people or just
Yep.
exposed me to other things in a way that I had really been missing. So I thought
I love that.
it was profound for me in the moment.
I think it was. I don't think that's small at all. I think it's like if you can have that kind of joy and appreciation in such like that's like what nirvana is. That's it.
Mm,
That's like what the Buddhists talk about with uh finding joy. It's not that a fancy, expensive trip overseas can't also bring you joy. It's
right.
not that, riding in down the highway with the top down in a convertible can't also bring you joy. These extreme, luxurious, effort and money involving things, they can totally bring you joy, but so can that moment of going to a new, unknown yoga class and like really listening and hearing and catching something that you weren't expecting that changed your mind a little bit. Like that
Hmm.
moment can be as great as those other joys. I think that is like a life well lived. I think that is amazing. And it's so
Yeah.
hard for me to remember to get out of my, once I'm caught in my routine, I'm like, it's so depressing in this house, but where else could I go? Literally anywhere, you dumb
Right.
bitch.
I know
And it's
that is
like
how it feels.
it gets so hard for me. I'm like, yeah, life is just bad. It's like, no, you just haven't left your room in 2 days.
I know. I know. And the couple of things that I do usually to remedy that are like perfectly good and they help a little bit, but they sometimes aren't enough. Like I'll go for a walk,
Yeah.
but the walk I'm going on is just like in the same general route in my same
Yeah.
neighborhood, or I'll, go to a coffee shop, but I usually go to my couple favorites and it's not a new space. Something about being in a new space. I mean, it's still really close by to
Hmm.
my apartment, but I had just never been there before. And something about being in the new space really I had missed. Like when I
Yep.
lived in DC pre-pandemic, pre me moving to Chicago, um, I would often go to, I had class pass and I would go to like different workout classes at different studios every week and just check out,
Hmm.
what's this yoga class like? What's this spinning class like? And I I didn't love it for the workout because I felt like I wanted something where I could be consistent and watch myself improve at like the same thing over time.
Yeah.
But I realized that I did love it for that exposure to new spaces and new experiences.
Hmm.
And so that's what I did. I got ClassPass again. Um
Oh,
in
sweet.
Chicago because I was just something was like calling me to doing that, even though I already know what my workout routine looks like. It's like I'm doing it more as a hobby, self-care, separate thing. It's not for the exercise, it's just for the getting out of the house to go do something for myself in a new space that I haven't been to before. And that's why I'm
Yeah.
choosing like the easy stretching yin yoga classes.
I love
Because
that.
the point isn't fitness. The point is like get out of your shell and do something that feels good and new.
Yeah.
And it immediately worked. That was the first class that I had been to on ClassPass. And I was like,
Nice.
whoa, people have thoughts that I want to hear.
I
And how
know.
cool is that?
I think that's what adventure is. I think that's what adventure
Mm,
is. It doesn't have to be,
it
I
did
think
feel
so much.
adventurous.
We're like, oh, I want to feel alive. I want to feel like I'm not losing my life. I have to plan a trip to Thailand. It's like,
Yeah.
no, you can have adventure by just like showing up in some environment where you're like, I don't fucking know what I'm doing here. Like, what's gonna happen? I think
Hmm.
that's amazing. I think that's huge. I think my version, you talked about like wandering around walks in your neighborhood. Which I'm not great at remembering to do, but when I do do it, I have done this thing for the last like year or two where maybe this is what everyone does, I don't know, but I like start out on the walk, I just pick a direction, but then I really listen to when I like pass a street and there's a turn I could take, I really listen to like, is the street calling me?
Oh,
You know what I
like
mean? And
just
I'm
should I
like,
go right or left? And then which one's
yeah,
calling to me?
or maybe I stay straight, but then sometimes I'll pass a block and I end up places like I have no idea where I am. I'll just go walking in my own neighborhood of DC and I get lost because I don't know how many turns I've taken. I don't know if I'm facing north or south or whatever. I'll just like walk, and if a one block, I like just looking at the block, I'm like, I don't know, there's an energy. And I think it's kind of just like a practice of it's fucking fun to be like, oh my God, something on the street wants me to walk down it. But then
Mm,
also it's kind of a little practice of being like being really present and just
yeah.
feeling there's nothing weighing into that decision other than like where's the energy pulling me. And it's kind of a very slight adjustment to walking around, but it's really fun to just like assume some of these streets are calling you and to like listen to which one it is. I can't explain it more than that, but it is really fun, and
I
I think
like
I
that.
always have a great time.
I feel like I've done that once or twice, or just like at a moment during a walk, I'll have a moment of like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I really want to go that way instead, or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
it's just that basically.
it's letting go of control, I think, because even in going for a walk, like usually my routine walk, which the walk is intended to make me feel better. Like I'm in my house, I'm stressed out about all the things I have to do that day. Okay, let me go out for a 15-minute walk, clear my head, get some fresh air. I'll feel better when I come back. But then even that activity is like kind of a controlled, structured thing where I'm like, okay, on the
Yeah.
walk, I turn right,
Too
and then I go
pre-paved.
two
Yeah.
blocks, and then I go that way, and then I get a coffee from that coffee shop, and then I take this route back. And so it becomes not as, it's still better than not doing it, but it's not as freeing as I really need it to be, or it could be, because it's still like this controlled thing. So I like what you're saying. Like, what's the big deal? You get lost and then your phone's in your pocket and you can map yourself back. Like, you're gonna be fine. Just
Yeah.
go the way that you go without thinking about it,
Yeah.
you know?
Okay, babies, pop quiz. What is the most valuable resource in our sweet human lives? If you said money, listen, I agree. I like money, but the answer is not money because you can always get more money. You can replenish money. You can replace money. You can go find more money. To me, the answer is time. You cannot replace the time you lose. And that is why I'm about to talk to you about HelloFresh. Now, listen up. Justin and I both care about eating healthy. Justin loves cooking. I don't. I don't need to repeat this. I just don't care about cooking, but I do care about eating healthy. And I do enjoy when we make a meal together. But choosing the meal, choosing the recipe, going to the grocery store, doing the grocery shopping, standing in line, getting home, unpacking ingredients, portioning out everything, doing the meal prep, that can take like an hour minimum. An hour every day. An hour every day that you want to do your cooking? Absolutely not. That is precious time. I could be sleeping. I could be ranting. I could be recording the podcast. Like an hour of my time, I want to save that time. That is why even with Justin, who loves cooking, we use HelloFresh. It saves so much time so you can actually do the parts that are important to you, like making the meal together, or more likely me watching him make the meal and I sit in the corner and talk shit. With HelloFresh, you can easily customize your recipes so each meal is exactly the way you want it. There's so many options available. You can trade or upgrade proteins. You can swap out side dishes. They also have like over 100 add-on items. Like you can add on a dessert, a quick breakfast, snacks, all those little things that really impact what your healthy eating looks like. If you're traveling over the holidays, what Justin and I do is we send a HelloFresh box to the Airbnb we're staying at, and then we don't have to spend all this extra time and money grocery shopping or eating out for every single meal. And we get to make a fresh home-cooked meal at home. Justin makes it. I just eat it. If you haven't tried it yet, it's a great time to try it. You can get 10 meals free at HelloFresh.com/free, not for everyone. Those 10 free meals will be applied across 10 boxes. New subscribers only, varies by plan. That's 10 free HelloFresh meals. Just go to HelloFresh.com/free, not for everyone. FREE, not for everyone, all spelled out. And thank you to HelloFresh for sponsoring. Let's kick it.
I have a serious question for you. I wonder if this is a stressor for you like it is for me. I freak out about holiday shopping every year. I love giving people the right gift, but it is so hard to do. And I am surrounded by people in my life who are great at gift giving. My sister is like so precise with her gifts. She nails it every time. And I feel like we're in this unspoken competition.
Oh, shit.
And I lose every year until this year. I got her a bunch of stuff from the Skims holiday collection. I got myself stuff from their holiday collection last year, and I'm obsessed with these like red, soft, ribbed pajamas that I got from them.
Mm-hmm.
So I got her the same ones this year. I got her this cute like scoop neck fits everybody bralette with snowflakes on it and the matching underwear, the boy shorts that you and I are both obsessed with. And
yeah,
I guess I'm realizing that she might be listening to this episode, so she already knows what I got her. But I won. And the point is I won. And it's because I got her Skims. They're so good. I love this collection.
Winning is the point of Christmas. I get so stressed out of the holidays. First of all, I have 45 siblings, and they're all just getting Skims thongs this Christmas. Luke too.
Luke.
I actually did get their soft lounge PJ set for my mom. My mom is obsessed with like a silky, silky, silky smooth Christmassy PJ set. I also got Julia this like lacy bralette set that's really fucking cute and adorable like she is. So many people have been messaging me recently and being like, oh, I didn't try Skims until you talked about it and would not shut up about it, and now I understand. So whatever you're picturing with Skims, I promise you, it's better. It's even better.
So true.
All I can say is the proof is in the Christmas pudding. I'm
Mm.
getting messages on messages that people understand the hype about Skims now.
Totally. I have gotten so many of my friends on board with Skims simply because of what you said. Like, we will not shut up about it on the podcast, off the podcast. I'm just repping them. If you see me in my home at any time, I'm wearing something from Skims. Shop Skims holiday shop at skims.com. Available in styles for women, men, kids, and even pets. Wait, I did not know that. I'm going to get my little pet brother Riley a Skims outfit. If you haven't yet, be sure to let them know we sent you. After you place your order, select podcast in the survey and select our show in the drop down menu that follows. It reminds me of our episode last week and how after we recorded it, it was a very challenging episode in a good way. It was about saying no, which is something that you and I both work on all the time and have been vocal about the ways we've been good at it and the ways we haven't been good at it in our lives. And that episode challenged us, I think, because some of the questions from listeners were really nuanced and difficult. And like, there's a
Yeah.
difference between maybe the best thing to do and the thing that we would actually do.
Yeah.
And as we were talking, I just kind of lost myself in the conversation and couldn't really keep track of like what I had said and does it make sense. And I was feeling very self-critical while we were recording it. And I felt better, one, just because you reassured me and Abby reassured me. Two, because I kind of decided to myself, like, that maybe is powerful when talking about a difficult topic for people to see, like, we don't know everything and we're just two people talking too and thinking through
Just out here grappling with shit.
grappling. Exactly. This podcast should be called Grappling.
Yep.
And number three, somebody wrote a comment that said in this episode, they loved the episode and we're in our flow state. And
Multiple
I was
people
like,
wrote that comment. I only
that
sent you
those
one of them.
words, I
Multiple people said it was their favorite
their
episode
favorite episode.
on YouTube. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I feel like the flow state wording really affirmed me. And I was like, oh, that's what it was. Like, it wasn't me not having, I mean, it was me not having the answer, but that's not a bad thing. It was me just like wandering into my thoughts about this really complex thing that I struggle with and just
Mhm.
pouring it out and letting it all be seen. And I think that's similar to going for a walk and just going the way that the wind takes you. It's like, can we all just fucking let go for a second?
I
Like,
know.
can we? It's really hard. I was so critical of it
It's so
afterwards,
hard. Well, I think
but
they're different things. Yeah, I think sometimes we touch on a topic that we feel like we've really moved through this challenge. And I can speak
yeah,
confidently to absolutely what I think is most helpful to me in that moment. And this was not one of those topics. This is one I think both of us that we were like, this is raw, this is present. We're trying to figure it out. Yeah.
I want to be in the flow state more. But no, that's not even it. It's not that I want to be in it more. It's that I want to feel more comfortable when I'm in it. That's like a
Hmm.
new goal that I've realized for myself. I need control too much, which I already knew.
Sure. Yeah.
But I've been like, okay, so what do you do about that? That's just the kind of person I am. Like, I don't know, I'll meditate, but I think now I'm noticing these opportunities where I can let go more. So that's my little reflection from last week.
I love that.
I want to talk about funny things though. Let me see if I have something funny to tell you.
I know. Do we have anything funny? I don't know why all my I don't feel that I don't feel that full of mirth.
Wow. Is that what mirth is? It's like joy or like humor?
Dude, I don't know. Let me see what mirth is. What's
You
mirth?
said it really nicely and confidently.
I think it's mirth. Mirth, amusement, especially as expressed in laughter.
Okay,
Mirth,
perfect. This isn't
mirth.
funny, but it is a complaint. Should I talk about a complaint?
That immediately sounds funny. Yeah.
I'm probably calling some people out like in my personal life, and I feel so strongly about it that I don't care, and they're gonna have to own up to their behavior if they are offended.
I love when you're snappy.
So I very often, I think you do too, leave my phone on do not disturb for like the
Con-
whole day.
Constantly. Oh, the whole year.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like never off.
I
Yeah.
actually, for a period of time, had an automation set on my phone that was like, when I wake up, turn my phone on to do not disturb. And I just
Yeah.
had it automatically do that for like a couple months when I was particularly anxious and just didn't want to be like poked a bunch. And so when you have your phone on do not disturb, there's a setting that I think is automatic, but lots of people use it where if somebody calls you, it won't go through. But if they call you a second time in 3 minutes, it will go through. Like in the event of an emergency, basically, they're trying to make it so that, if your
Yeah.
mom really needs to get to you because something's happening, she can call again. People know about that function on the iPhone and they abuse the shit out of it.
Oh
There are
shit.
multiple friends and family members, you know who you are in my life, who will
Oh
call
my
me once.
God.
It goes to voicemail because I'm on do not disturb. And they'll call me a second time because they know it'll go through the second time. So then I see the call come through and I know I'm on do not disturb and this person called twice. Oh my gosh, it must be an emergency. I pick up and I'm like, hey, is everything okay? And they're like, yeah, do you want to like go get pizza?
Kill yourself.
Oh,
No.
are
Call
you?
me once, shame on you. Call me call me twice, you fucking apologize.
You apologize to me right now.
You
First of
apologize to me
all,
right now.
you
You better be
abused
dead.
the
You
power.
better be in the fucking ambulance.
You made me
Ugh.
think there was an emergency.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to get pizza. My phone's on do not disturb. You can tell that I'm probably locked into something or probably just wanting to
Yeah.
have alone time. Oh my God. Many people do this in my life, at least.
Wow,
It
I do not receive that.
it is a boundary crossing, big
Dang,
time.
dog. I think you can take that privilege away from them. I think you can turn that setting off.
Maybe,
And
but I still,
what else
there's
you can
not a
do?
way to customize it. I want to make that setting like just my parents or something.
Oh, there's
Um,
not? There is. I think there is. I think there
Maybe
is
I'll
a way
have
to
to look at
customize
it
that.
again. That setting, it made it like, or maybe it lets you do like your favorites, but some of these people,
Yeah.
maybe I just remove them from my favorites list.
Yeah, they
Sorry,
ain't
you're
favorites
gone.
anymore. They got
Yeah.
demoted. I just figured out using like the downtime screen limits and you
Yeah.
can like let certain people's texts or calls come through in that. But I also just realized that like I don't think anyone I know is gonna call me emergency because I'm trying to think of it. And that's not to say
What
that I'm
about when
not
the
important.
owls come? I'll call
When
you
the
when the
owls
owls
come,
come.
you call me when the owls come. But aside from that, but like, no, actually, because, and I'm not saying that I don't think I'm not important to people, but like, my family is all in this city. So if anything happens in my family, both my parents are here, they're calling each other,
Yeah,
or someone's calling my parents. Um, Justin can call through.
right.
And then everyone else I love lives in other cities. I don't think they're calling me in a time sensitive emergency.
I guess so, but it's the my fear is the type of emergency of like your dad had a heart attack or something, like
In another city, I'm still not going to be able to help you, probably. You should call 911.
my dad, I want to know if that happened to my dad, right?
Wait.
I'm saying if my mom
Oh,
needs to get in
you
touch
just
with me
want to,
because my dad had
yeah.
a
Okay, you want
cardiac
to know about
episode,
that.
I
Okay,
would like to
yeah.
know. Yeah.
No,
He's had
that
a
makes
couple
sense.
already. I have my eyes on that guy. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I thought you meant to like to help.
No, just to
No, you just
alert
want to
me,
know.
like a
You just want to
family
know.
emergency that I need to be aware of or
Well,
something.
let me tell you the fuck what. Let me tell you the fuck what is wrong with my family. My brother did go to the emergency room and like this was maybe like in the summer, maybe like 3 months ago. I showed up to the pool um to meet like Elizabeth and Justin at the pool and I was talking to them or something, and after like an hour of talking, Elizabeth was like, "Oh yeah, Luke's in the ER." And I was like, "Excuse me?" And she was like, "Yeah, he's been there for like 6 hours." And I
What
was
the
like,
fuck?
"Excuse me?" And she's like, "Yeah, Dad's there with him. Like he had some like crazy incident where he was like experiencing like paralysis and couldn't breathe
Oh no. Oh my
and
God.
like was dying. And his he had to like pull over on the side of the road and his friend had to like drive him to the ER, like he couldn't even drive himself. And then he was
Wow.
there for 6 hours. This had been going on and no one in my family called
It's
me.
like,
And I had to
why
call
are we
my
at the pool right now?
why I was like, oh, I could have been in the ER. And my dad was there
Yeah.
with him. So like they knew and they just there's a communication problem. So I think even from
Oh,
that, I was like, they're not
we have the
calling me
same thing.
anyway. They're
We
not
have the
calling
same
me
thing.
anyway.
This has been a huge topic of frustration in my family where like someone will get in a car accident, it'll be fine, but like maybe it would be nice to know, or even
So
they'll
I
be in a
can
car
call the
accident.
person.
Right.
Ugh.
Yeah, it'll be and there's just a lot of like, oh, I'll tell her later. When my dad had his last heart attack, I was the only person in town from my family. At this time, I lived in DC. All of us lived in the DC area. My mom was on a business trip, and my sister was, I guess my sister was at college, which was like an hour away. And my dad's coworker called me to let me know your dad had a heart attack. He's in this hospital. He's in surgery now. He's okay. Everything's going to be
Oh,
fine. But do you want to come? And I was like, yes, absolutely. So I left work and I went. And, as I was arriving, he was coming out of surgery. And so I was able to see him pretty quickly and
oh
talk to
my
him, and it was all
God.
good. Um, and then one of the first things he says, my uncle came too. My uncle came down. So it was nice to be with him as well. And then I walk in and they're like, so we're not going to tell your mom right away. And I was like, what the actual fuck, guys? It's my dad and my mom's brother being
Yeah.
like, yeah, we're not going to tell her today. And I was like, I will not be lying to her about this, actually. This is like a
Yeah.
huge event. If she asks, if she calls or whatever, like I will tell her. And they were basically like, she has a big work meeting and like, we don't want her to be worried. He's fine. Look, he's fine now. Like, it's all good. She just let her get through her meeting that she's been stressed about, and then we'll tell her. It's like, there's no right way to do that. I understand what they were trying to accomplish, but I just feel like we've had a lot of smaller situations in our family over the years of like somebody got in a car accident and nobody mentioned it. Somebody had this happen and nobody mentioned it. And it's caused a lot of frustration of like,
Yeah.
even if you're fine or it wasn't as big a deal and you didn't want to worry me or you didn't want me to think it was something bigger than it was, like, I want to know.
Yeah.
It's, and I know a lot of families deal with a similar miscommunication, or it's not even miscommunication. It's just like lack.
How they're trying to deal with hard news.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Like
But it's
lack
like
of
on the I do get it, but
process.
also like on the off chance that something then takes a bad turn, you're going to feel
Right.
pretty bad for not calling your mom. And also she's an adult. She's going to learn how to get through her
She's
meeting.
gonna,
Whatever. I guess
right.
people
I
make their
agree.
decisions, whatever, but yeah.
I told her to be clear,
you,
but
you know what? Good for you. You know what the version of this that happened in my family?
what?
My mom did not know how to tell my sister Julia when our first dog died.
Oh no.
And
Oh.
so she told her she was still alive.
No.
And until
What
Julia
was the
had time,
story?
I
Where
don't
did she
know.
say
She was
she
just,
was?
I don't know. I don't know what it was. I think it was like she said that she was like sick or like in her last days or something. I can't remember the details. Julia is still
Okay.
furious about this. And until Julia could come home from school or something. And so Julia like took her like sweet ass time coming home from school. I can't remember the details. I can't remember. And then she got there and they're like, she's dead. I mean, it's kind of funny now because it was so stupid. It was so like, what did you think you were gaining there? But Julia was furious, and she hasn't forgiven them. And the consequences of that were that when our next dog, who was only like a year or two older and died like a year or two later and was sick for like a year, and Julia was away the entire year, Julia like couldn't know for sure if they were being honest about whether the dog was still alive or not.
Oh my gosh, she's been like gaslit and now she doesn't know what to
Yeah,
believe.
she's been traumatized. Yeah.
Yeah, it is a thing of like, I understand the intention behind it. It's always a good intention of like wanting to make it the best for that person,
But it's
or
infuriating.
it's infuriating. It's like, I'm an
It's
adult. Give me
infuriating.
the information and let me decide how I'm going to deal with that.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, we've gotten in a lot of fights about things like this in our
Oh, that's
family.
interesting.
Hmm.
That's interesting that that's a theme.
It's a theme. What's another theme? What's another theme? Should we sing a song? What's another theme? What's
Theme.
another
What's another
theme?
theme? Oh, what's another theme? What's another theme? What's another theme? Go.
Sometimes I've started to sing, I think, to the tune of your one of your songs that you shared
I
a
have a
while
lot of
back on an
hits. I've
episode.
written a lot
You
of
have a lot of
hits. Yeah.
hits. I find myself sometimes singing. Don't you have a song that's like he's a baby, basically about Justin? Can you remind me?
I'm trying to remember what it was. There's so many ones. They're mostly about Justin.
Right.
Um, oh, probably he's a nasty girl. He's a dirty little girl. Is that the
Something
one?
like that.
He's a
It was more the
nasty girl.
tune.
He's a
It was
dirty
more the
little
tune,
girl.
maybe, where you were like, "Oh, he's a baby." I don't know. Or maybe I'm mixing one of your
No, there
songs
probably
and one of
was one. I
mine.
can't remember. I changed tunes quite
I changed
rapidly.
them too, but currently I'm in a like couple week period where my I'm finding my tunes for Ryan are tunes that you have uh that you created. Like they're just
I
living in my psyche and I've started
That makes
to,
sense to me. That
yeah.
makes sense to me. I will say I have no humility about how good a tune writer I am.
No, you know it and you own it and people should know.
I'm just really good at that. And the things I'm not good at are singing or anything
That's
else.
it.
Or,
No,
or
I thought you were gonna
like
be like, and everything
no.
else I've got.
Everything else I'm really good at. No, I have always said I'm a songwriter. I have always said that.
You have it
And
in you. The
I
music is in
and
you.
I think I can write as catchy a tune. Listen to this delusion. I think I can write as catchy a tune as Taylor Swift. I just have no musical talent. And there I can only really write about like butts pretty much.
Right.
And I
So
don't yeah, and I'm not that into like a whole melody. I'm big on choruses.
yeah, totally. Or like the bridge, maybe the bridge.
Yeah.
Last night we were listening to Prince. Like we just had Prince on in the home, and Prince obviously like huge iconic musician,
Yeah,
greatest
he
of all
looked up to me
time.
a lot. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think he took a lot from
I
me.
was listening to this one Prince song that like maybe I'd never heard before, or I just never, it's not one of like the top three hits, so I just hadn't paid attention to it before. Literally, the thought that I had was, oh, this kind of sounds like the melody that I use for that one butt song for Ryan. Like, I was listening to an iconic Prince song being like, yeah, this is maybe this was my inspiration and I didn't even know it, or maybe we just came up with the same tune, me and Prince and his
Yeah,
team. So
could
I
be.
understand what you mean. I've been doing a lot of just like blowing smoke up my own ass this week because it's been a really
Totally.
stressful week at work.
You
And the
gotta
way that I get through that is like just
blow.
hyping myself. So, first of all, there was something that I did at work. I literally like made a slide and out loud. It's always just making a slide, which everybody does. But I looked at the slide and I just like thought about my brilliance and my dedication and my uh vigor. And I just was like out loud, I was like, nobody does it like me. And Ryan was in the room, like doing something on his computer, and he was just like, what? And I was like, nobody fucking does it like me. And he was like, what did you do? I was like, look at this slide. He was like, no, I won't look at the slide, actually. You need to be cut off. And then the other thing I did while listening to Prince last night, I
Nobody does it like me. Oh, I love picturing you just sitting at standing at a standing desk in the corner of the room,
yes,
whispering that to yourself.
that's literally me. When I'm stressed
Oh,
out, that is what I turn to. And then
that's
last night I was
awesome.
styling our bookshelves, which just for the last few weeks they've just had the books on them and I didn't do a lot to like, you know what styling is, obviously. My friends made fun of me my friends came over a week or two ago, looked at my bookshelves, and I was like, oh, I haven't styled them yet. I was like kind of self-conscious that they had not been properly,
Yeah.
zhuzhed. And they were like, what do you mean? Like they look good. And I was like, no, the
They
books
don't
are
even
all over the
know.
place. Like, what are
They don't
you?
even know.
They
They don't
don't
even
know.
know. They don't
So last
know.
night I finally got around to styling them and I was in a flow state. And I looked finally like stepped back and looked at my masterpiece and was like, wow. And once again, I was like, nobody does it like me. And then I
Nobody does
sent
like
pictures
me.
to my friends and was like, this is what I mean by a styled bookshelf. I've
You
just been
fucking
doing
idiots.
a lot of looking at my own work and being really impressed with it recently.
Oh my God.
Isn't it fun?
That's great.
Like your
That is so
songs.
fun. Yeah, like my songs. I don't, I'm trying to think of things I have as much confidence about as I do about my unpublished songs.
You have to find the small things like that. Like I'm not doing anything with well, I am doing something with my slide making because that's like my whole job, but the bookshelf,
Yeah,
that's just in my own home and you can
that's
compliment
more than
yourself
I'm doing
about
with
home
my
stuff every
songs.
day.
I know, but I genuinely think I'm a better songwriter than I am at interior design.
Maybe you need to write. We've always joked about, not really joked, we've just like alluded to one day creating our own version of our intro song. Maybe you need to
Yeah.
hone this gift for our listeners and do that.
Yeah, I actually thought about there because you can't use most mainstream music in YouTube videos
Yeah.
or you can't monetize it. And I literally thought about just recording my own versions of famous songs. And they would be horrible. They would be like, I don't have a good voice. I do not have a good voice, but
That's
I
not
think
true.
it would be no, it's not a good voice. It's
It,
fine. It's not the worst, but
it's
it's
not
a
like you don't
you don't want to
have,
you don't
you're
want to
not
listen
tone
to it
deaf.
though.
You're not tone deaf at all.
Oh no, but I'm not tone able either.
Forward.
Yeah, I'm not tone forward. You don't want to listen to it. It wouldn't be good. It would have to be kind of silly. But I was kind of thinking of just like recording my own version of, girls just want to have fun and just playing
For your YouTube videos.
my own song and my own YouTube videos. Yeah.
That's epic. That would be, I still want you to do that. So they wouldn't flag it if you were just singing it
No,
yourself.
but I think what would really make it is having the regular professional instrumentals
Yeah,
and then
like a
just
karaoke
my
version.
vocals. Yeah, basically, I think that might still get flagged though. So, eh,
Meh.
eh, meh.
Eh.
My hair's really dirty.
What are you gonna do about that?
Complain about it.
Okay. My hair's been getting dirty really fast. Like I
Okay,
wash it and it actually looks like really good for like 6 hours.
okay.
And then it gets really flat and dirty. I think maybe my
What
shampoo
are you
is like
doing?
not it for me.
Not a good shampoo. Yeah,
I
that sounds like
switched
bad.
shampoos recently and I
That's
think
bad poo.
it's not, it's bad poo.
That's bad
It's
poo.
bad poo. Comfortable in my skin, cozy with who I am. Comfortable in my skin, cozy. Cozy. Yeah, that's Beyonce for Cozy Earth, actually. No, I cannot speak to whether Beyonce has ever partnered with Cozy Earth, but the next best thing is me partnering with Cozy Earth. If you're new here, you have not yet heard me rant about how much I love Cozy Earth sheets. They are the best temperature regulating sheets that I have found, and trust me, I have tried a lot. I'm a hot sleeper, and so it's kind of been my life's mission and quest to find the right sheets that'll make me feel like warm and hugged and comfortable all through the night, but also that won't cause me to wake up in a pool of my own sweat. And that's only exacerbated by the fact that my boyfriend has a totally different sleep temperature preference. He runs cold, and we just have never agreed on sheets until I got Cozy Earth. They just work for both of us. We have not complained and fought about the temperature at night ever since putting Cozy Earth on our bed. They're soft. They get softer with every wash. They also come with a 10-year warranty, which you think you don't need for sheets until your dryer at your new home is like eating all of your stuff. And our sheet got caught in there and got a hole in it. I emailed Cozy Earth and they had a new sheet out to me in like 5 days tops or something. Amazing customer service, amazing quality sheets. They make a great gift. What's more important than your sleep at night and your comfort level while you're sleeping? That's a great gift to give to a loved one this holiday season. Visit cozyearth.com/not for everyone, fully spelled out, and use our exclusive 40% off code, not for everyone, fully spelled out, to give the gift of luxury this holiday season. That's cozyearth.com/not for everyone. If you get a post-purchase survey, say you heard about Cozy Earth from us. Cozy. Okay, I have a few complaints.
Yeah.
Honestly, I could just keep going down the list.
Yeah, honestly.
Why do desk chairs have wheels? And can we stop?
No,
Can we stop?
no, you're wrong about that.
Why? Nobody is like rolling around an office like Jim Halpert anymore. Like, that's not what I need for my desk at my
That's
home.
true, but I feel like it's still hard to like scoot back out of your desk.
It's just like scooting back out of your dining table.
Oh, that's a good point.
Thank you. I fucking crushed that.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't want them. That's my complaint number one.
Okay.
Complaint number two is more of a question.
Okay. I'll make it a complaint.
And this is actually, you're the right person to ask because of your interior design background. Tissue box covers. Do I need that?
If you're a gay man, yeah.
That really got me.
Okay. You can have a tissue box cover, but if you're, I'm gonna say this. I know we're supposed to be beyond gender norms, but yeah, I don't think you can have a tissue box cover as a straight man. I think that's you
Right.
know, I think you've made a choice
I
then.
agree with that. But what about me, Jessica? Straight woman.
Oh, no. You can have one.
I can have one.
Yeah.
Should I have one? The question is, should I? Is that something that I'm supposed to get?
Oh, supposed to. I don't think it's a supposed to. I don't think I've ever been that offended by a
Just
tissue
like a
box.
regular old Kleenex box. Okay.
Yeah.
People make you think that you need that.
Who's doing this to you, Jess?
The people, the owls.
Yeah, I know. It's something on Instagram.
The owls are just coming up in my inside my home and looking at my tissue boxes and shading me for
Judging
it.
you. Okay,
Yeah.
what's your next complaint?
Let me see.
I'm trying to look for hot takes.
This isn't a complaint. It's kind of somewhere in the middle of complaint and hot take. I would love to know your opinion before sharing my own, because my friends and I were talking about this. How do you feel when people are talking about an event in front of you, like plans that they have or an event they're going to, and then they're like, "Oh, you're welcome to join." Or if they text you like maybe last minute about like, "Oh, maybe you text your friend and you're like, "Hey, what are you doing tonight? Do you want to go do this?" And they're like, "Oh, I'm actually doing such and such with so and so. You're welcome to join." How do you feel about your welcome to joins?
I don't like the phrasing.
Right?
I if it's okay, I have so many different answers. So if
Okay,
they're
good.
talking about it in front of me and then they remember that I'm there and they say, "Oh, you should come. Oh, you're welcome to join." It almost doesn't matter what they say. You're fucking looking at me. Like, I don't want this awkward default guilted into it invite. But if it's over text and they just had other plans and I reached out and was like, "Oh, what are you doing?" And my friend was like, "Oh, I'm going to do this with so and so. You should come." I would entertain going if I'm
Hmm.
interested in the thing. But you're welcome to join is very passive.
Yeah.
And
It's like,
now I
"Oh,
don't
if
want
you
to.
want." Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
Mhm.
the in-person conversation around me and then they remember I'm there and then they fucking throw me a fucking dry bone. No, dog. No.
Agreed.
I would rather be drowning in my own bathtub than accept that invitation.
It's
No,
not
I'm
an
going to be busy.
invitation.
Not an
It's an
invitation.
afterthought. I feel really strongly about, I really try to not make other people feel like afterthoughts. And
Yeah, that sucks.
it, I would like the same done to me as much as possible. Like sometimes there's just a situation where it makes sense, like exactly what you just said, the text situation, and "you should come" is totally a better way of phrasing it because it makes you feel wanted as opposed to you're welcome to join is
You're
like,
welcome to join. You're
whatever,
welcome
up
to
to
fucking
you.
suck my butt. You're welcome
Yeah.
to suck it if
Yeah.
you want. If you fucking like that, so you're welcome to suck my nipples.
Yeah. I really try not to do any of those. Like, I would rather, most of the time, I would rather, if I'm the person who has plans with a different friend, and then you text me and you say, what are you doing tonight? I would rather just be like, I have plans. Can we hang out tomorrow? Than tell you to join my plans. Not because I don't want you to come to my plans necessarily, but
But it
because I don't want
feels,
you to feel
yeah.
like an afterthought. Like I am, because I
Mm-hmm.
think when I was growing up, like in high school and college and in my early 20s, I felt very
Hmm.
sensitive to those sorts of things. And I often struggled with feeling left out or like, yeah, just like the add on as opposed to, uh,
The
like
centerpiece.
the
Yeah.
centerpiece that I really truly am. And
Mm-hmm.
so, yeah, because of that, because of how much pain that caused me when I was younger, I'm like, I won't
Yeah.
do that to anybody, even though
I
sometimes
think,
it can work.
well, I think I think it just depends on the incident. The texting,
Yeah,
it depends. Like if it's something, I think it depends for me. Yeah.
it definitely does depend. I've probably, just because I say that doesn't mean I've never done it. I feel like when I
Yeah.
do it, I try to be really effusive of like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, I should have told you about this. But again, I
I
wouldn't say that if I didn't
know.
mean it. So when
You
I
know
do
what
that, it's because I
yeah.
mean it. Yeah.
I always get weird and ruin it because I also feel that like awkwardness and guilt that this person might not feel that or like stress that they might feel like an afterthought where it's not. Like sometimes you just make plans with your other friends and
Yeah.
it's not a plan about not hanging out with some other friends, just like that's the friend you were talking to. But then I get so stressed about them not wanting them to feel like an afterthought that I'm like, oh, I was only talking to them about that because we saw them at this thing and we brought up this thing. And then I make it like
Yeah.
this whole fucking defensive thing that sounds so much weirder. That's my problem.
That is a problem. But I think people get it. I think people get it. I think that stuff hits so much harder when you're younger. Like, I don't know. I think after a while of navigating
Yeah.
those types of dynamics, you just realize that because you find yourself on both sides of it over time, and
Yeah.
being on both sides of it gives you visibility into like, oh, a lot of the times it's not exactly what you said. It's not like they were trying to leave you out. It was because that's the person you ran into on the street and talked about making plans with, and
Yeah.
then life went on. So, yeah, I think once you've experienced both sides of it as you get older and have more friends and more scenarios to navigate, everybody gets chiller about it. But when you're younger, you don't have the like perspective that helps it feel okay, and it can feel really bad. Can feel
Hmm.
really bad. And I know that there's a lot of people. I have a couple people I'm thinking of in my life who, yeah, have like a complex a little bit about feeling like the left out one. I think I used to have that, but I think I've definitely, that's changed over time and I've grown out of it. But I know people who still struggle with that and like can't seem to let go of that feeling. Um, so anyway, for what it's worth, I think that's a
Hmm.
relatable situation that happens a
Very
lot.
relatable.
People
Yeah.
can
I
feel many
definitely
ways
relate.
about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Before we wrap her up, um, I feel like we should go back to, given that it's our 99th episode, I feel like we should go back to what we did in the early days where we would look at our Google search history.
Yeah. So
Just feels right.
the very top thing on my Google search history is a Google search that says, "Why would there be blood on a beer bottle?" Because
Do
I
you remember
went,
typing that?
it was
Yeah,
last
well,
night. Yeah, it
okay.
was last night. I went to this restaurant, like taco bar with friends, and Justin and another friend both got a beer. They this was like the end of the meal. They'd ordered a bottle of beer. The cap has been taken off. They both take a sip of the beer, and Justin was like, that kind of tastes like, and then both guys at the same time say blood. And they were like, what the fuck? And they were like, yeah, that really tastes like blood. And And I was like, shut up. No, stop it. Like they said it at the same time.
And they were
And
drinking two different bottled
two different
beers,
beers, two different bottled
two
beers.
different types of beer.
No, same
Or
type
did
of
they
beer,
both
but
have like
two
Corona or something?
bottles.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
whatever it was. And they're like, that tastes like blood. And then I don't know why I joined in. I was like, no, it doesn't. And I tasted it. Why did I put my mouth on it? And I don't really have any sense of taste, so I couldn't tell. I think I also had gum in my mouth and whatever. And I was like, I don't know. And then the friend took a napkin and like wiped the top, just like that top inch of the bottle neck where you
Okay.
put your mouth and like wiped his napkin around it and took the napkin off. And it was like a dark, dark red
That is
all around it.
shocking.
It was shot. We didn't know what to do. We literally didn't know what to do. And we were sitting there just being like, and this friend was someone who works for the Innocence Project and was just talking about being in the midst of like getting DNA samples tested for criminal cases and stuff. And I was like, can you get this napkin tested? Like, can we just find out if that's blood or not? He was like, yeah, I'm trying to think like what happens if you drink someone's blood. And I was like, oh my God. And we were all just sitting there in shock for probably like 10 minutes and genuinely didn't know what to do. And then the waitress came over and this is why I'll never understand boys. They were just like, hey, this is really weird, but these beers like tasted like blood. Like, could we get another one? I was like, why do you want another one? That's the part I don't
Right.
understand. Why do you want another beer from this
From
place?
this establishment.
Yeah. And at first they were trying to think like, maybe the bartender like cut their hand and it got on both of these beers or something, but it was like a good amount of this like red stuff on it. And the waiter also was like kind of weirded out and obviously and took the bottles back and then came back like 10 minutes later and was like, "Hey, so I like looked at it with my manager and it looks like liquid from the bottle like rusted and it's rust on it,
Okay.
which both of those have a coppery taste, I
Yeah.
guess."
Makes
And
sense.
so that did make more sense and everyone felt a lot better. I do, whatever, they're going to cover their ass, but also that makes more sense. And but then the funniest part was like, so we like removed those from the check and then we put like your new beers on and we just made those the same price. So basically what she was
What?
saying is like, we
We
won't
charged you
charge
for
you.
the
What she was basically saying is like, we'll do you the favor of not charging you for the beer that was either covered in blood or covered in rust. Neither is okay.
right.
She was like, we won't charge you. They had a sip, they'd had a sip. It's a full bottle. And I was like, someone needs to teach you how to run a restaurant. Like you probably should have comped all the drinks. We
It's
won't
also
charge you for that
ridiculous
bottle we took
to say
away.
we took
Excuse
those
me.
off, but we added the other ones on at the same price. So, okay, you
I'm
charged
not
me
I'm not on my knees thanking you for this.
for the
What?
beer I drank. Yeah. That's
And
that's
then
wild.
didn't charge me for the beer I didn't
I
drink that
didn't
you served
drink.
me that
Good.
you yourself said was covered in rust. Yeah, I agree you shouldn't charge me for that. Do you need it?
Wow.
What? It was insane.
Is
Yeah.
this a restaurant
So,
that any of them had been to before or like was a
yeah, a
known good
lot.
place?
Yeah,
Okay, that's so
we're
weird.
in New Orleans right now. Actually, we're in New
Yeah.
Orleans for a wedding, so it's a restaurant in New Orleans.
Wow. What were the results of the
Yeah.
Google search? Like, did you get anything helpful in those 10 minutes when you were
Nothing
searching?
nothing that made me feel good.
Like,
Um finding blood on a beer bottle is almost always a sign of injury or accident, as there is no natural reason for blood to be present in a beer bottle. No shit, bitch.
right.
Someone likely cut themselves while handling it, but it was weird that it was two bottles and it was like a
Yeah.
good amount. Yeah.
Ah.
Can you just imagine that though? Sitting at dinner, middle of the conversation, end of the meal, two people take a sip of their beer and then just go, huh, that kind of tasted like, and then they say together, blood.
No. But I can't explain this,
Oh,
but I kind of want a beer right now.
okay.
There's this new show that I think everybody should watch. Actually, Caroline, I've been meaning to tell you because I think you would really like it. It's called
What?
English Teacher on Hulu.
Oh,
It's
I've heard
there's
of
only
it.
one
Yeah.
season. It's new. It's short, like sitcom like episodes. I think there's only 8 30-minute episodes. It is a laugh out loud, super well written comedy. It's like my favorite comedy I've seen
There's
in
someone,
years.
I know there's someone I really like who's in that. Who am I thinking of?
Do you know the main guy, Brian Jordan Alvarez? Do you know who that is? Or is it somebody else?
No, I think it's somebody else, someone
There's
smaller. But go
it's
on.
really well
Okay.
cast, although I don't think that I know any of them from something before. Oh, other than this one guy, Jordan Fistman or something, who was in like
Oh
popped
yeah,
off
he's
on
kind of
TikTok. Yeah.
Instagram famous. Yeah.
Yeah. So the main guy who's like the creator of the show, who also plays the lead in the show, the actor's name is Brian Jordan Alvarez. And he is pretty much all I've searched on the internet this week because every day, sometimes multiple times a day, he posts a TikTok slash Instagram reel of himself dancing to the same song with the same dance. It's not like a well done choreographed TikTok dance. It's just like him kind of grooving in the same way to this same
Weird.
song. And it was he's gotten a lot of like attention for it because it was his way of promoting his show. He
Oh.
just started to post himself dancing every day, and he'll like take off his shirt in the dance, and the caption is always just stream English teacher on Hulu. And
Oh.
it really
That's
has
fun.
gotten his show a lot of attention. Um so I don't know. I guess I'm just telling people to go search for his name, Brian Jordan Alvarez, on whatever social media, TikTok or Instagram, or just online, and you'll find it.
Yeah, I was just
And
looking
these
at
dances are
his.
making my day, and the show is the best show I've
Oh.
watched in a long time. Like laughing out loud to the level that I used to laugh out loud to Parks and Rec. Like that's how funny it is.
Wow, that's
So
crazy.
that's my rec for the week. And this is if you're watching on YouTube, then I can play you one.
Oh, he's going sexy with it.
He's so cute.
Oh, you got a little crush.
So I have a crush. Oh my gosh, I have such a crush.
Is
And
he
there's a
gay?
lot of he's gay, and there's a lot of straight women in the comments being like, "Does this make me a gay man? Can I
Yeah, it
be?"
does.
And that's
Yeah,
how I feel. And I've been
I
just watching
know.
them like to myself in my bed, and then Ryan will come in
Where are
and
your
I'll feel
hands?
like
Where are your
ashamed
hands? Where are your hands,
on the nips.
Jessica?
Um,
Ah, okay, that's good.
and then yeah, Ryan will come in and I'm like, it's like when I was a kid and I would turn off something I was watching when my parents would come downstairs because I didn't want them to
Yeah.
know that I had discovered like the OC or something.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Um, like some like drama, violent sexual
Sexy
show or
drama.
whatever that I was too young, quote unquote, too young to watch. Um, it's like that. Ryan will come in and I'm watching these videos
That's
and I'm like,
funny.
ah, nothing. And I like put
What?
my phone away and
Throwing your
he's
phone
like,
across the room.
yeah, because I have such a crush. So yeah, that's my internet thing of the week.
I have a distinct memory of I must have been like 13 or something, and I was at a beach house with my family in this living room that was like very much the communal living room. And I remember turning on the TV and American Pie was on TV,
Mm.
and I'd never seen American Pie. And I watched the scene with the pie,
Oh, the scene. Oh, we know the scene with the
the
pie.
scene with the pie. And I was like, I know, I guess like I later understood that it's a comedy, but I thought that was like so sexy when I was 13. And I was like, it was probably like the most I'd ever seen anything like porn before.
Yeah.
And I like didn't have adequate outlets. And I was like so guilty just sitting there turned on in the middle of the living room in my family beach house. And I remember just like looking around in paranoia, being like, someone could come down the stairs. Like I wasn't doing anything.
I
I was just
know.
watching it with
But the
fascination,
feeling of the horniness, just like
the feeling of the
when you
horn.
didn't know what that
Like, I
was,
like this. Yeah.
right? But you feel like everyone can see it, even though it's an internal feeling. You're like, oh my God, it's so obvious that I'm having this feeling.
I think it is obvious. Well, watching a little 13-year-old feel horny watching American Pie.
Maybe
I
it
think it's
is.
pretty obvious. I don't think I was hiding it that well.
What were you doing?
Yeah. I think I was just like probably like drooling in a weird
Sweating.
way.
Yeah.
Sweating, yeah. Sweating, panting.
I feel like I
Yeah.
would try to seem extra like normal during those times so that
But I
nobody
wasn't
would know.
laughing. It's like if you're watching that scene
Ah,
American
okay.
Pie with like unblinking eyes and this great intensity and you're not laughing, it's like, well, what are you doing?
Yeah, okay, fair. I'm
Yeah.
thinking more generally about times when I was younger when I was a kid, like experiencing that feeling for the first time and
Horny
just
in the
being like,
streets. Yeah.
yeah, like we would even just like on a drive in the car where we would drive over hills and they would give you that little like the flip of your lower tummy feeling or
That
something.
made you horny? Hills made you horny?
Not horny, but it would remind me of the horny feeling, which I would get
Okay. Hills
like
make her
watching a
horny.
scene like that in American Pie.
That's
Like I
so
remember one
funny.
time being in the car and having that feeling from a hill and being like, wait, this is like that feeling that my mom told me was bad.
I think I'm sexually attracted to hills.
Right. And then I would be like, I'd always be really eager to go on a drive because I
Your
could
mom
have that
told you that
feeling.
feeling was bad? Did your mom actually tell you that
Yes.
feeling was bad?
Yes, she did. And that is a lot of stuff that
In
had to
what?
get worked through.
Wait. In what context did that even come up that she said, you know,
She
that feeling? That's
she
bad.
walked in on a young Jess, very young Jess, doing what young Jess discovered to be a form of masturbating.
In her own
And
bedroom?
I was in the basement of our house, I think, like
Okay.
rubbing against a couch or something. And and I'm pretty sure, I don't remember if she used the word bad, but the reaction was like, that is a bad thing, don't do it.
To do
Um
in public? Was she saying doing that in public is
what she
bad?
did, she was not specific about it. She was not specific
Yeah,
about it,
it was just
which
shame.
she was shocked, didn't know what to do. She said something that communicated to me that it was a bad thing to be doing. I then felt a lot of shame about it for a really long time. Yeah.
Oh
I think that's a
shit.
pretty common
Yeah, it is.
story.
It
I
is.
have a lot of friends who had like similar experiences one way or another, and
Yeah.
it's like nobody equipped my mom to know what to do. I think nowadays
No,
it's a lot.
that generation didn't know what to
Right.
do.
It's a lot more, there's just like more conversation about this stuff and more resources out there that are not as stigmatized for parents at who are our
Yeah.
age, but like for her at the time, I just think she didn't know what to do and she was like, my little girl shouldn't be doing that, and I carried that with me for a long time and
Wow.
didn't
Yeah, that's
think
some
that it
shit
was
to
good to be
unpack.
doing until like yeah, until
Oh my God. My
people
friend
would
did
talk about that more.
my friend did come to me when he his son was masturbating like in like not masturbating but like casually like touching himself like young kid like
Yeah.
kind of casually touching himself in the living room like under a blanket maybe like absent-mindedly like not really thinking about it like watching a movie like but just like you could tell and it just wasn't appropriate
Yeah.
and he was trying to be intentional about it and he was like oh like I really don't want to shame him I know like there's all this shame around it blah 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 and I was like, and almost to the point where like he didn't like know if he could do anything. And I was like, well, sure. Like, yeah, we want to, correct this thing that we all felt in our growing up with the shame. But you also really shouldn't do that in public. And if my kid took a shit on the couch, listen, I'm not saying taking a shit is a bad human thing to do,
Right.
but you can't do it on the couch. And I support you feeling shame if you again choose to do it on the couch. So there's two different things there. There's like
Yeah.
the reacting to like the normalness of the feeling versus you need to learn to pee in the toilet.
Yeah.
And next time you don't pee in the toilet, I welcome you to feel shame about that.
Totally. There's
I,
shame
I
can
think I
be a
got
tool.
riled up. Yeah. Yeah, it
Shame does not
can.
need to be eradicated, just shame
I
for the wrong
mean,
things.
oh my God, shame for the wrong things. Yeah, but of course it's totally tricky of having to be like, okay, well, how do I address the one part and then address the other part? But yeah, the
Yeah.
attitude
And
of like, well,
especially if you're
I never want them to feel shame to jerk off in the streets. Well, no, they should. That's
oh
a crime.
that
That's a
is
crime. And I've seen it happen.
what's the quote from The Hangover where he's like, we can't jerk off in airplanes anymore. Thanks a lot, Obama or something.
Obama. I get so horny on airplanes.
I do too. I think there's something
Yeah,
about like
the stale
the
air.
wistfulness. Oh.
Oh.
Of like
The
traveling to your
wistfulness.
lover. Yeah, traveling to
Oh
your
no.
lover.
I was joking about the stale air. For me, it's just being so close to people and no one can move and no one's allowed to do anything. And I'm like, come
Wow, that
on, come
tracks for you.
on, come
I love it.
on.
Keep not doing anything. See what it makes me do. Yeah.
The restraint. Yeah. All right, we gotta go.
Okay, let's go. This has been Not For Everyone. Thanks for tuning in. What do we need from you? You know what? We don't need anything from you this week. Just keep coming back. Keep coming
Just live your
back.
life. Don't
Keep
die.
writing us. Uh, and tell us if you see more than 2 to 4 owls.
Oh
That's all
my
we need.
God.
Okay.
Bye,
Kisses.
bitch.